The next panel is an investor-investee dialogue to decode the success funding formula amidst economic challenges, featuring two success fundraising cases from the Cyberport Investors Network, CIN, and the Cyberport Macro Fund, CMF. They will share what investors now look for and how startups can re-strategize their funding approach amidst an economic downturn. We are pleased to have Ms. Joyce Yeung, Investment Director, Cyberport Macro Fund, to host a dialogue with two pairs of tech startup founders with their investor and corporate partner, respectively. The panelists of the session include Ms. Mavis Wu, Project Director, Hong Kong Inno Angel Fund, Mr. William Yeung, co-founder and CEO, MediConCen Limited, Mr. Eddie Law, Chairman, Zheng Capital Management Limited, and Mr. Kelvin Lei, CEO and co-founder, AQUMON. I will now pass the stage to Joyce. Joyce, please.
Good afternoon. Welcome to our Investor-investee dialogue panel. This afternoon, I'm very honored to have two pairs of investor-investee to be with us to share the success funding story amidst this economic challenges. To start, let me first invite my fellow panelists to introduce himself or herself briefly. Maybe start with Eddie first.
Hi, my name is Eddie Law. Very honored to be here today. See a lot of good people, good ideas. I used to work for Goldman for 21 years, since 1991, and started my company 8 years ago, focusing on fintech and health tech. Thank you, Joyce.
Kelvin?
Yeah, my name is Kelvin Lei. I'm CEO of AQUMON. We started AQUMON 5 years ago in the library of HQST, and we are very honored to be here. Our company is focusing on digital wealth management, and we provided a 100% transparent, low-cost investment platform to Hong Kong people. And now we have almost 100,000 downloads in Hong Kong and almost 5 million reach to other financial institutions. And we are honored to be here and want to have a good discussion with us.
Thanks. Mavis?
Hello, everyone. I'm Mavis, Project Director of Hong Kong Inno Angel Fund. First of all, I would like to thank Cyberport. Thanks, Cyberport, for having me here for another year CVCF events. So Inno Angel Fund is founded in 2013, and we launched our first offshore fund in 2016. We are a tech-oriented early-stage investor with nearly overall 4 billion renminbi AUM. Hong Kong Inno Angel Fund is backed up by top-tier angel investors and the Tsinghua universities, as well as well-known entrepreneurs and well-experienced venture capitalists here in Hong Kong. We define ourselves as not only an early-stage investor, but also an ecosystem facilitator covering both Hong Kong and the Greater Bay Area.
And then next, William.
Hey, hello, I'm William, CEO of MediConCen. We automate insurance claim using Hyperledger blockchain. We want to make insurance usable for everyone again, so that you don't need to be bothered with the tedious claim process, and you can really enjoy buying insurance. We are the only insurtech company that is one of the members of the Linux Hyperledger, because we also contribute back to the community in terms of the coding. So it's our pleasure to be here and talk to so many experienced guests.
So first, I would like to ask questions on the investor side first. Eddie and Mavis, given that both investments are actually made pretty recently in the last 3 months, may I know what's your investment rationale in this respective case?
Maybe Eddie first?
Okay.
Age before beauty.
Okay. So I think everything has two sides. So does COVID. And during the COVID time, actually, thanks to the internet, we just speed up our meeting pace under the difficult times, because we don't have to move around to traveling to meeting with the startups. We still have very tight schedule meeting with our new startups every day. But on the other hand, we do slow down a little bit on the decision making for new investment, for sure, since the COVID has brought many uncertainties to the market. And also, just like the MediConCen is a very good case because during the COVID, we can see many businesses, they just booming dramatically, but not many startups in the COVID times, they can find a sustainable business model after the special period ends. Like MediConCen, we can see that their traction keep going up during the COVID, but also furthermore, they leverage the blockchain technology and also build up a trusted value network among the insurers and the medical networks and also the insurers in the long run.
And then Eddie?
Thank you. I think for me, spending 30 years in the industry, 21 years in Goldman, I become not a scientist. I become an artist of investing, right? So, we were trained to be contrarian. We were trained to basically look at every opportunity, even when it's in the most difficult time. So we survived, the last 6 big up and down around the world, right? So this time I'm really excited because I see, because of this virus and also what's happening around the world, a lot of castle is being turned down or pushed down, right? New technology, new idea, right now is the best time for people with an idea and then basically start it. Because everything is being challenged, in the world right now, the establishment of traditional asset class, so on and so forth, right? So I think, it didn't slow me down. Actually, it, wake me up and it speed me up. So, Kelvin and I think maybe in the history of Hong Kong investment, right, we have the shortest communication.
That's great news, right, for the startup. So let's move on to the startup side. Can you share with us how many investors did you actually meet leading up to closing of this round? And I'm sure a lot of startup is eager to learn what's your hit rate like in terms of fundraising. Maybe let's start with Kelvin first.
We started the company 5 years ago, and I think in the past 5 years, we raised 5 rounds of financing. And to be honest, it's not easy in Hong Kong to start as from zero because it's a city full of opportunities. But when we started the company back in AQUMON, when we go to pitch the investors, there's seldomly any VC in Hong Kong. Yeah. And my first angel round is from my ex-colleagues from Credit Suisse, and they believing it's a new thing, and they believe in me. And after that, in 2017, we got the funding from Alibaba, and also then in 2018 from BOCI. But in 2019, it's pretty hard for us. We visit almost, I think, at least 80 of the investors, both in Hong Kong and in China. Even we go to the US for the funding, but we did not succeed. But we never stop trying. We go to pitch another round for investors, for example, Lenovo and Cyberport, and then we close our pre-B round, the first tranche of pre-B round in March this year. And then we are very lucky to have Eddie, and it's really interesting. He found us in YouTube.
Oh, wow.
He was like,
so social media helps, okay, startup.
Yeah, the videos, and he saw our advertisement, and I think he's finding someone who can do the automatic investment for everybody in Hong Kong. And that's why we got connected. And another platform we are using is LinkedIn. And he found me in LinkedIn and then asked for a meeting. And then we start talking, and it's happened very fast, just in 2 months.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
How about William?
Actually, I always say we are not very good at doing marketing and pitching. But we met around 15 different investors. And this one is our first one of getting institutional funding. Before I am actually in education, so talking is not my lecture ability. But then we talked to a lot of industry angel, which they have a vision of changing the insurance industry. But they always find certain things that they cannot implement in their own company because of the legacy or different reason. But they see, okay, if we are going to do something that really could have a big impact, why not just invest in us? So our angel investor are all the executive of insurance company, like ex-CEO of insurance companies, and also ex-CFO, and also ex-CMO. So we start ourselves being a team of the industry people. And we also have then we expand into the tech side by recruiting more tech people who also crazy dreamers. And then we form a team, and we meet a lot of different investors. Most of them are actually referred by Cyberport. So we think this community is really very helpful for our any success in raising the fund. And we are very happy to meet Mavis in the very beginning of our journey. I think it's well before we even start to raise fund. So throughout this journey, we build a relationship, and I think fundraising is something quite like a relationship, and we always want it to be very, very long term. But you cannot say you want money and and you just make it a one-sided relationship. But what we need to prove is how to, through the time, how we can deliver the result, especially for early stage company like us. We need to basically focus on the delivery. And so we didn't spend too much time on pitching. Actually, we focus most of our time in doing the business, and we invest our own money in that process. So we survive until we get the funding.
So as a follow-up, with the closing of this recent round, what's your target growth plan, particularly now with like new investors? How would you leverage on the resources or the network? Maybe Kelvin can start.
Do you know AQUMON has the biggest team of PhDs in fintech in Hong Kong? Because in the past 5 years, we are very dedicated in recruiting all those youth from young people from the best universities in Hong Kong. And I think with this round of financing, pre-B round with Eddie's, I think we have more power to grow our team. And I think talent is the most important in fintech area, especially in Hong Kong. And we are also aiming to go to the markets of Greater Bay Area and also the mainland China. So that I think it's a really good opportunity for us at this moment to expand our business, because we already see 300% of growth in terms of AUM and account opening this year. Compared to other industries, our industry is really booming. And the other part is that we want to have our footprint across Asia. We want to go to Singapore. It's also another twin city of Hong Kong. It has a very large wealth management industry. And also, we were planning to go to Japan, because Japan is another very big country for this part. So I think with this round of financing, we have a lot of things to do, and we are recruiting people. We have building up our reputation and also do a lot of marketing. Yeah.
How about William?
We serve insurance companies, so actually our business model is B2B in the DNA. So we don't need to do too much on the acquisition of the patient side, but we do need a lot of people to convince the medical provider to use our service. That's the one way that we need to invest money into beefing up our team to actually acquire more medical provider to use our solution. And on the other side, we strengthen a lot on our IT team, because our core capability is on our technology platform, which actually we want to invest as much as we can in making the product the best in the market. And we already we revamped the whole user experience based on the comment that we receive from the doctors, so that we make sure that not only the doctors like us because of the financial, because of the speed of transaction, but also the nurse are using us happily. because they are also one of the stakeholders. All people who are using us are giving us very creative comments, and the investment allow us to basically beef up our team to meet their requirement. And in fact, we have a pipeline that is longer than what we can serve. So this funding would help us speed up to meet the demand of our customer.
That's a good problem to have, right? More investors more customers than you can serve. Let me go back to the investor side. May I know, like with the emergence of COVID, what are the challenges when you look at potential targets, and whether your capital deployment of your fund has actually changed since the beginning of this year? Maybe let's start with Eddie.
Thank you. First of all, I'm not a fund. I'm the kind of a Picasso of capital, right? So I don't think about COVID. I don't think about structure like this. So what I do think about is technology is at a point that is going to make a lot of things different going forward, right? And just such as, right, how you deliver things, right? For me, when I was at my old job, I do big investment, but I don't have the scale, So I think technology, working with Kelvin and AQUMON, can create a scale of services, right? So, but the way I look at things is always two-sided, black and white, but the outcome will be a rainbow. It's very, artist kind of thinking, right? Technology is not disruptive. Technology can be constructive, right? That's the approach that we want to use. We want to use technology to resolve a lot of pain points in the industry, right? In the delivery of services, and also in the economic reality. One thing Kelvin and we agree with is we want to make more people can participate in the prosperity of economic growth instead of leaving them behind. So I think that's my, kind of Picasso vision now, right?
Exactly.
Great. How about Mavis?
Yes, and as I totally agree with what Eddie said, and also as I mentioned before, COVID is like a double-edged sword. For one side, it really helps some business like MediConCen. Some startups, they focus on medical resources network. They will grow rapidly under the COVID's impact. And on the other side, we do come across some difficulties when making new investment during the COVID, because some business we can see a very big growth in a very short term, but Inno is a real long-term value seeker. So we spent lots of time to distinguish those startups who both have explosiveness, but more importantly, with a sustainable growth model.
Great. So let me open the floor, right? I just want to know from your perspective, like what's the success factor for the chemistry that works between investor and investee? I mean, put aside IRR or monetary return, like what other factors would be essential?
Eddie, first.
I think the most important thing is to put the economic aside. In Chinese, right, we say, 道不同不相為謀, right? If you don't share the same role, don't get on the bus, then you will regret, right? So I think that's very important, right? So I'm very fortunate, right? For the last 8 years since I left, I was part of a biggest health tech company, and also, one of the largest fintech company just went IPO, right? So because day one, we have the same vision. So I think that's a very important element of working together. One last thing is I love Kelvin and Don and the company, right? Because we practice diversity. Kelvin's from China, Don's from Taiwan, I'm from Hong Kong. They're young, I'm old, I'm experienced, they are not that experienced, right? So I think that, in Goldman Sachs, we train to basically respect diversity and get the best out of everyone, right? I think that's what I really believe in. Mavis, yeah.
Yeah, and I think the matching mechanism between the investor and investees is just like fast dating, because we have to earn each other's trust in a very short time by being transparent and honest. And after the deal closing, we share a long-term relationship. So we share the same loyalty and keep supportive to each other along the way. So I think just like many common couples, we usually will have some different views and arguments. Even MediConCen and Inno, we spend lots of time on communications to finally get the deal done. So I think I suggest like to all the investors and investees, just try to be patient and learn how to listen to each other and try to find a balance between both expectations.
And I actually heard one of the biggest risks of underperforming from the fund's perspective is actually not investing. So I'm just wondering, like in terms of your patient capital per se, like do you agree with this? And whether or not, like let's say in the next 6 to 12 months, like what's your primary focus in terms of investment? Maybe Eddie first?
I can
Whether
say,
you will keep investing or like accelerate your pace, or it really depends on whether you get to source another potential targets from YouTube or LinkedIn.
no, I think really, right, before I met Kelvin and the company, I spent most of my time to help, substantial family company to make money. And I think right now I want to change my style to help the 95% of people, they don't know how to make money. So I think that's very important, right? So for me, it's not, speed up or not, but I really believe that Hong Kong has a lot of good resources, a lot of good, smaller company that they have the people, the mind, determination, right? I don't want to get too much involved in, Kelvin's personal situation, right? But when he told me, I was impressed. I said I got to be part of it. I got to get on the boat with them together, right? So I really think, as time goes on, I hope to identify a lot more Hong Kong-based, ideas, and then help them to commercialize and basically go into different areas, particularly right now, our Big Bay Area. This is one of our life kind of experience. So get involved, get on the bus, don't be left behind.
Yes, and I think for Inno, for the coming 6 to 12 months, we will still keep our track on the hunting journey for new startups in Hong Kong and both the Greater Bay Area. And at the same time, we do emphasize a lot on the post-investment service, because we are early stage investor. We invest in very early stage startups. For those startups and entrepreneurs, they need lots of the help coming from the investors by sharing our insights, our advice, our guidance, and also our networks. I think that's more important than the capital.
So in terms of the investee, right? So like, how do you manage your investors' expectation? And also, can you share your tips on fundraising, particularly like a lot of the audience are actually from the startup side. Any insight would be appreciated, yeah. Kelvin?
I think we never manage our investors' expectations, because as Eddie said, when we get started talking about investment, we already have shared the same vision. It's very important, because it's primary investment. It's not a secondary investment. You cannot get off your bus anytime. Yeah. So, for example, when we talked with Alibaba back in 2017, it's really early stage. We only have 10 people, and then they invest 4 times after that. So I think the most important thing is that you share the same vision and you stick with your dream all the time. Not today, I think digital wealth management is good, and tomorrow I want to do an electronic trading platform. So this is not good. But if you stick with your dream and you put your effort on it, and the investors will see. Another very important thing is that you have to be very transparent. For example, we talk to our investor every quarter, and we actually meet them almost every month. And we update our company's profile, what's going on, what's good and what's bad. And that's how you build up the trust, and I think the trust is really important in the process. Yes.
William?
I think just like any relationship, the most important element to, I won't say manage expectation, but we manage surprises, meaning that no one wants surprises, because whenever you didn't communicate well, there could be certain area that that I think is like this. You actually do this. That is no good for the relationship. And if the communication is good, actually you don't need to manage expectation, because you have the same expectation. Because the vision is certainly aligned. Whenever if someone invests in you, that means at least they believe in your vision. And that one is beyond question. But how to maintain the relationship going forward is really to manage the surprises so that everyone have the same page, same information, and in case you think certain thing should be happening this way, why not you just communicate it and make sure that everyone is on the same page. And advice for startup is actually don't overestimate the value of an idea. That's really
That's good advice, actually.
my learning. A lot of people, they think, okay, I got an idea, and that idea is so precious that would renew the world. But in reality, it never happened. What matters is really on the execution, how to basically have the best execution and utilize your advantage, your knowledge, and your passion to address the people that really address the problem that really painful enough and big enough, and then you got a chance of success. And if you are successful, then you just need to communicate well, and you will get the investment. It's not a matter of you didn't communicate well, so you don't have funding. It seldom happens. It's really, if you do a good job, then the communication is only part of it. That would make a startup a success in raising the fund.
Great. I would like to leave 2 final questions to Kelvin and William to give you guys a chance to question your investor or make any special requests in front of our audience. Eddie?
Yeah.
I'm ready. Okay.
I think it's going to be a really interesting but really challenging road going forward, because we have to conquer the market that is full of talents, especially those traditional big financial institutions, and also we want to go to the other territories like mainland China. And what's your goal, or what do you think AQUMON can achieve in the following 3 years to 5 years, and what
Thank you
know for this?
I couldn't wait to answer you. I tell you, Kelvin, right? I think there are 3 things very important for humankind, right? When I say humankind, it's the 95% of the people in the world, right? These 3 things are, education, healthcare, and basically participation of growth. So we are trying to create some opportunity here to bring the gap, I hope, closer. So as far as you are doing that job, I'm happy, okay?
Yes.
So that's what our mission is.
Okay.
Right? Thanks.
Yeah.
Great. William?
Actually, there's nothing we need to ask here. But then actually, we think all the investors, they would got a very busy schedule of helping different portfolio company. And I think it's good if there is certain networking session that we can have with other portfolio company, because in Cyberport community we learn one thing. It's really sometimes you by talking to each other, you create new idea and new partnership that basically could become success factor. So I think if we can leverage more with the fellow portfolio company, sometimes we can come up with something that benefit two companies, and that is good in the investor perspective. And if there is opportunity to understand more of other portfolio companies, that would be appreciated.
Sure, I think that's the same value we share with MediConCen, because Inno is a very open ecosystem. We really encourage our portfolio to learn from each other in the future.
That's great. And
Excuse me, can I say one thing?
sure, sure.
I want to say, right, you Cyberport actually has done a good job. You know, without, we are not here.
Great,
So
thanks so much, Eddie.
keep it up, right?
For your closing. We're always here to help out with the startup community. So with that, we would like to conclude our session today. So thank you so much for your support today.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.